Good morning, and welcome back to the Accountability Room, where women gather to talk about accounting, building a practice, and everything that goes into that. I'm your host, Becca Chafee. I'm happy to be here, and I am proud to introduce Jen Shaw, founder and
Hello.
accountant at All Accounting LLC, Co-Gofan, founder of Strategic Alliance Group, and Heather Taylor, founder of Roundup Accounting and Advisory. Good
Hello.
morning!
Good morning. So excited to be here, guys.
Yeah.
I
Yes,
missed you
another
last
week.
week. I was able to listen on the podcast and it was a great conversation. So I am very much looking forward to connecting today and hearing, what we're talking about. And I'm excited for it.
Yes, we
Yay!
missed
Welcome.
you. We missed your input as well last
Yes.
week, but we're grateful you're here today.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank
last week would have
you.
been a good one for you. You embody that CEO identity, so that was
Oh,
awesome.
yes. Yes.
So
Yeah.
last week we talked about the CEO versus operator identity. So what does it look like to stop living in the business and start working on the business and owning the vision? And we talked a little bit about how easy it is to really become the bottleneck and hold on to tasks and have difficulty releasing some of that. So before we jump into this week's conversation, how did that play out for each of you ladies? Did that shift anything for you? Did it show up for you throughout the week, or did you notice areas where you're able to pivot a little bit and move into the visionary ball cap?
Well, for me, after our conversation last week about, just letting some things go and being able to outsource some things and the issues that I was
Mm-hmm.
having with IT, because I was the IT department.
Yeah.
I talked to a few people and I am meeting with someone that's next week that's going to
Amazing.
take that off of my plate, just getting everything set up. Because it's been about 2.5 weeks and I'm still putzing around with it. And that is taking way too much time that I can be spending on something else.
Yeah, so good.
Mm-hmm. That is.
Mm-hmm.
Your transition to Microsoft, is that what you were saying last?
Yes, transitioning to Microsoft platform.
Okay, very good. It's
Mm.
so good to, definitely use your expertise elsewhere, right? We're in the accounting field. That's why we get clients is because we're like, hey, get out of the things you don't like to do, come
Yes.
and hire us. So that same thing applies to when we're working on our own business. And
Yeah.
so it's so great that you were able to find someone to help you with that. I do
Mhm.
who are successful and can move things along a lot quicker.
Oh, yes. Yes, because 'cause it's been moving much slower me trying to do it.
It is, yeah. And I
Yeah.
think
Holding
Mhm.
back.
especially with the transition in business in AI and where things are, like, it is going so fast. I think
Yeah.
it's just kind of mind-blowing how quickly things change, and I think that's one thing that's really important is adaptability to change and pivoting quickly. Not too quickly where you haven't, like, really decided things, but 2.5 weeks, trying to figure it out on your own. It's like, I have a community, I can reach out to people, and we can expand so much faster and better with those around us.
Exactly, and it's okay not to be able to do everything because
Yeah.
we're always thinking, "Oh, I can do this. I should be able to do this." And you do follow that direction step by step, but after you do it, it doesn't quite work the way it's supposed to. So then you have to
Right.
go back and try to fix things instead of just getting help in the beginning.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think that really is the
Yeah.
difference between visionary or CEO and operator is the ability to get out of your own way. Like we all have
Mhm.
the ability to have these big ideas. We all have the dreams, we all have the aspirations, and we all have the ability to follow step-by-step instructions, right? That's very operator mindset. I think the CEO identity is the ability to truly step aside. How do I get out of my way and trust my team? And I think that's what we've been slowly working toward with a lot of these podcasts of how do I delegate? How do I allow my team and empower my team to learn this? But I think that is what truly separates people is understanding and releasing that control, right? Get
Yes.
out of your own way. So good job.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I
And
love
what
it.
So for me, it was just because it was on my mind. I got a new client this week, and I really was kind of like, oh, I've got all this work now. I got to jump in and get it done. But just being able to keep that in my mind that yes, I have work to do. I've got a new client. I've got to get them onboarded. But at the same time, just, remembering, okay, I got to stop. I got to take that time in my calendar. I've got to block out my own time to work on my business and my goals too. Uh,
Mhm.
Work on those things. Just mindful, sometimes it's little, but just having that because we talked about it, it was fresh, not filling my calendar with all of a sudden this new client onboarding stuff.
Mhm. And like Jen just said, if you have the community, reach out to your community.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
why we're here. That's one of the reasons the accountability room was created. State your problem, and then there may be someone there that can help you with that.
There will
Or
be.
give you that push that you need to get out of your head and
Yes.
move on to the next task that you can do.
Yeah.
For sure.
And then if you surround yourself with, competent people, good people, then
Hmm.
and that goes back to delegating.
Yes.
Delegate it.
Yeah. We actually have a very exciting endeavor happening next week. At All Accounting, we have decided to take on another part-time employee, and it's just really exciting that delegation. We've onboarded a couple new clients, and we have a couple more in the pipeline, hoping to seal the deal on those in the next couple weeks. And it really is, should we do it? Can I do it? Sure, the money is nice, but at the same time, the stress level of where we're at and making sure that we are supporting all of the clients that we currently
Yeah,
have and not
fully.
letting people fall behind. And I think Co or maybe it was Heather, last week you guys were talking just about the fear of letting go. And I think I definitely resonate with that because I feel like I should be able to take it on myself, and I don't want I don't want to fail, and sometimes there's some self-sabotage in the idea that, well, I'm trying to grow this business and I want it to be this thing, but what if I can't actually be there to really lean into helping everyone? And that's where our community and creating these other people to help support everybody,
Mm.
so we don't fail, so we can continue to grow and learn. And yeah, so I'm very excited for our new person, Jacqueline, and yeah, our growth edge on that, just letting go, allowing other people to come in and blossom and see kind of where it all goes. And I think Becca, you mentioned where leadership can take a point, and it's just as we level up our business at each ring and letting go and being more of that CEO, it's great to be in the business and learn that. But I think also just as we age, I'm in
Mhm.
my 40s now, and just thinking back, like where our life was in my 20s and 30s and just needing to grind it out, and now just being like, no, life is okay, like have that community, teach the next
Yeah.
generation how to go on it, because we're all at these different levels. So spreading our wealth of knowledge is, as we continue to learn, it's really important.
Mhm.
It is.
That's
It's that
true.
trust. It's your trust
Mhm.
with them. It's scary to bring on a new hire, not just because you're worried, there's a huge amount of trust in understanding that you're opening your firm to them and you're trusting them with your clients, something that you've built, but it's also releasing control of doing something an exact certain way. And so it does take a lot of courage. And It's so important. So this is actually what this whole conversation is about, is the cost of playing small, right? So sometimes the biggest thing holding us back is not lack of opportunity. We've had an opportunity to connect with Jacqueline. We met her at an accounting conference. We've stayed in touch with her. She's a total powerhouse. We're so excited to work with her. It's not lack of opportunity or strategy or ability, right? What's holding us back is often the version of ourselves that keeps shrinking to stay comfortable. So
Yes.
what that might look like here is, well, can I really support the cost? Those two clients are in the pipeline, but they haven't fully signed. But this, okay, yes. But having that trust to make the leap of faith, well, now you've just expanded your capacity. So even if these two clients don't necessarily like pan out, fine, you can plug her into or plug this person into so many other aspects of the team, and you've just opened yourself up to actually lead, to have the vision and to go out and build and make additional opportunities, right?
Mm-hmm.
Opening yourself up through trust and confidence is that visionary mindset. So today, actually, that's sort of perfect. We're going to be talking about the growth edges that you didn't expect. So, in your firm, what are some things that really skyrocketed growth for you that might have been scary? So, yes, bringing on a new hire. I was so thankful to be one of Jen's very first firm hires. Um, and there was some safety in that. We're sisters.
Yeah.
so, so, so going outside of family is another like stretch. But yeah, so what are some of those growth edges that you guys have experienced in your firm that took that leap of faith, that took that confidence, that took the bravery to do that, that brought additional like blooming that you really didn't expect in your business?
Mhm. Mm.
So my whole business started like Ray was working for a friend and he decided to close down his company. And I was kind of left with the choice of find another job or start on my own. And I was kind of at that point in life where I'd been looking at starting my own company. Always wanted to be an entrepreneur. Like all of my classes in high school, I was on the FBLA. And so it was like always about entrepreneurship. And so it was like a split second. He needed to know by 5 o'clock that night. Um, it was end of the day, it was like 4 something. What email he was going to send out to his clients that night, whether he was going to introduce me as a option for them to come over, or let them know that he was closing and that they had 30 days to find somebody else. And so it
Wow.
was kind of a split second, I'm
Wow.
going to do this. And uh, well, I'd always been an employee at that point as far as on my own. So that was a scary step. And definitely one of those that I jumped into something I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what to expect. I always knew the bookkeeping piece of it. I'm really good at that part of it, but being able to work into those. Now I gotta learn how to onboard clients. Now I gotta learn how to market. Now I gotta learn like all the
Yeah.
pieces in a split second. And it's been an uphill learning curve. I've been drowning most of it, and kind of my whole year this year has just been stepping back and doing those things that maybe I didn't get a chance to do in the planning process of planning a business.
Yeah.
And so
Because
I'm
you
able to
skipped all
kind
that
of take
planning
the
process. So you were
hindsight.
just like,
I
deep
did. I
end.
skipped the whole planning process. I dove 10 feet deep. I had a friend that she would tease me all the time. She was like, "So, are you any closer to the surface?" And she'd tell me, "I'm drinking out of the coffee straw. All of my air is coming from the coffee straw, and I'm 10 feet deep. And have I got to the surface yet?" And so being able this year to kind of step out and be able to say, "Okay, what did hindsight, being able to look back and say, okay, I did not have an SLP for this. I did not really know how to onboard a client, but now through experience and all the years of learning along the way, now I can kind of put those into place and hopefully have a stronger, foundation for my business. And then on top of that, I was always working on the side for somebody else. It wasn't always
Yeah.
just focusing on my business. So, so yeah.
I feel like that's one of the biggest growth edges that people are going to find. So it's so funny because as you're talking, I have mixed feelings about it. Part of me is like, it's almost better that you didn't have time to think about it. Like, just go because there's so much extra garbage and weight that we build up in our mind the longer that we have to wait. And I am not advocating for removal of planning in people's businesses. Plan, build your vision, all of the things. But sometimes there is benefit to just trusting your gut and just leaning in and not really having time to be scared, you know? But the other
Not
thing I was
having
thinking,
time to be
yeah,
scared and figuring it out. Like,
yeah,
most entrepreneurs only have 60% figured out, and maybe even less than that, but
yeah,
they know and feel confident that they will be able to figure it out.
that.
And I think
Mhm.
that's really where that stretching comes in for entrepreneurs, is being able to take that leap, knowing that it's not 100%, but that you'll be able to pivot and change until it is finally solidified that it does work. Mhm.
Yeah.
Most definitely. I think part of the growth edge for me, and I've just decided like within the last 12 to 18 months to really do this full time if I want to eat. I like to eat. I love
I love
food. I'm a
eating.
foodie.
Me too.
So and so, I also realized that it's not the only thing it's not always about getting the clients and making more money, getting more clients. You also
Right.
have to have the infrastructure
Yeah.
and the
Yes.
systems in place, because if you don't, no matter how many clients you have, no matter how much money you're making, you're going to be overwhelmed all the
Mhm.
time. And now I'm learning that you do need that infrastructure. So that's my
Yeah.
growth
Well, for me,
edge.
it's an integrity thing because if I don't have tools and systems to truly and fully support my client, I'm not giving them what they need, right? And so it
Mhm.
comes down to not just burning yourself out. Obviously, yes, you can plug in gaps and you can sprint and sprint and sprint and make up for your lack of process
Mhm.
in that sprint. But there is a different benefit that you bring to your clients by having these systems. I mean, and helping them implement systems so that you can catch your breath and they're getting the best grounded, you're ready to fully support them and it benefits
Exactly.
everybody.
I
And
think
you keep them.
yeah.
Yeah,
You want to keep them happy.
Yeah,
yeah,
I think showing a good vibration to clients and seeing like you're the calm one, you bring it down,
Mhm.
that you are able to let everyone else rise around you. But if you
Mhm.
come to any interaction at that high level of like, we got to go, 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 the world is like, you have enough. You keep fighting this, and we just let go, let it just come to us and have that calmness and that faith that it comes back to just trusting the gut
just
really where it is.
Mhm.
And I think a lot of times it's taken me a long time to get there. As women, we kind of are more shoved into the idea that no, that's not the right thing, or other people telling us what to do, or this is the role you need to do, and allowing that trusting of your instincts yourself and listening
Mhm.
to that, yeah, really helps.
And also realizing everything doesn't have to be perfect.
Yes.
that very, very that might be the
Yes.
biggest growth edge of all. I was thinking about that, Heather, when you were talking about how you took on this business, but you were still working a side business. That I get it. That's a survival. I have to make sure my family's cared for. But
Mhm.
part of me, is, as you're saying, like, let go of it, not let everything be perfect. Like, maybe you cut the budget for a little bit and trust that something will come in or whatever that looks like, but not having to maintain whatever this idea of perfection is and
Mhm.
just sort of ride those waves as they come. I feel like
Mhm.
that allows you to grow because if you're just like clinging on to this idea of what something should look like, you're missing all of these other amazing opportunities that are flowing around you, right? And
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah, just waiting for the perfect opportunity to come or the perfect time to release content or
yeah,
everything doesn't have to be perfect.
there is no
And that's
perfect.
how you learn. That's how you
Yeah.
actually learn what
Mhm.
works and what doesn't work.
Yeah.
Mhm. Well, I think it's really important as people are growing, the evaluation stage of what we're doing is a key element into it because as humans, we are very good at just continuing force and that's what we're going to do and we've done it this way, but taking a moment to really evaluate, does this actually work for me? Does this work for my clients? Do
Do I
I need
like
to
it?
pivot? Yeah, do I like it? And
Mhm.
asking those questions is just, it helps guide you to the next level.
Mhm.
Too, like with
Exactly.
that is having your goal because
Yes.
otherwise you just do anything and everything and you don't ever move forward. You just keep in that same circle. And
Mhm.
if, as you're evaluating, as you're going, if you have that goal and something that you're aiming for, then you can ask, does this align with where I'm going? Does this align with what I want? And
Mhm.
sometimes the answer is no,
Exactly.
and that's okay. So,
And that's why it's important to write it down. Write down what your
mhm,
goal is, what your vision is. Post it everywhere that you can see so you won't lose sight of where you want to
yeah,
go. And
yeah,
then that way, you're able to say no. Like Heather said, it doesn't align with where I'm trying to go, say no.
No is a beautiful word.
It
Mhm.
is
yeah,
my favorite sentence.
Yeah, I was
No.
gonna say that's a full sentence. No.
Yeah.
yeah,
On that note, though, just because I love to integrate a little bit of a challenge, I mean, we're talking about growth edge. Do you guys find when you are establishing your goals that fear inserts herself in disguising herself as being realistic when setting those goals? Or do you let them fully bloom and really align to what is it that I love? What do I like to do? What do I want to see? How does that play out for you? How do you fight that being realistic masked as fear versus really blooming, letting things grow, really exploring? What does that look like for you?
Well, for me, when I'm writing my goals, I'm up there. I'm writing everything down. But then when it actually comes time to implement, or even after you wrote everything down, you looking back at it, it's like, what am I gonna do? How am I gonna do that? For me, that's when the fear starts creeping in and
Yeah.
I start overthinking. And I'm like, well, maybe that's too much. That's too much of a lofty goal. Let me bring it down some.
Yeah. Yeah. Just
I,
start and see where you land on there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think for
I
me, I
actually,
have to. Oh, go ahead, Heather.
I was gonna say, go ahead, you're fine.
Yeah,
On the
I
smart,
the SMART goals for sure. Yeah, those are a great way to go. It's a really nice structure for making sure what
Mm-hmm.
is it? Specific, measurable, attainable,
attention.
realistic at a timeline, something like that,
Mm-hmm.
Instead of,
basically. But
yes,
just
instead of realistic, I change it to resonate. Just
Mm-hmm.
because
resonate.
that
Ah,
realistic sometimes keeps you held, right?
it
That's what I
does.
would
It
say.
it really does. I love that shift to resonate because that's how I feel like I know whether or not I have if my goals are fear-based in being realistic is less I make sure that I don't limit myself first. Well, I couldn't do that. That is the instant trigger for me that I know that it's fear. If
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, I'll happily just shoot for the moon, right? I'm like, this is what I want to do. And then how I know whether or not it's realistic is what does my day look like? Are there enough hours in the day for me to accomplish this? And what is my energy saying? Am I excited? Am I on fire? Am I ready to go? Do I want to keep doing it? Or am I miserable? Am I dreading this? So your body will tell you if your goal is realistic or not, is my
Mm-hmm.
goal. Is I want to make sure that when I'm setting these goals, I'm not limiting myself with, oh, I don't think I could do that. I don't know what I can do. I can
Mm-hmm.
do all kinds of stuff. I have no idea yet until I try. And so I think
Mm-hmm.
sometimes that can be a good way for you to determine whether or not it's fear, if you're talking yourself out of something before you've even tried, versus being realistic with the realities of what your time permits in any given day and what your energy will support.
That makes sense. And as you were talking, I thought about your goals may be realistic, but maybe not at that very moment that you're trying to
Mm,
make them. It may not be
so true.
realistic this year, but maybe next year or the year after. So,
Or, yes, I love that timeline for sure. So it might not be
mhm,
realistic right this second, but also it might not be realistic by yourself. Maybe that's that leap of faith of building your team. Maybe you need that
mhm,
community, right? There's some times when you
exactly.
can have a vision that requires community to bloom, and that's also great.
Mhm.
How are some of the ways that playing small has impacted your leadership in a firm? So when you're instead of like leaning away from growth, we talked about sneaky little lady fear coming in and keeping us realistic. So what are some of the ways that you have found playing it small has impacted either your growth, your income, honestly, maybe even your confidence or leadership? How does that play in for you?
Well, for me, playing small, and I'll go back to the, putting yourself out there because you got to market. I'll go back to marketing, just, putting yourself out there and networking and how that fear creeps in for me. And we are so used to, underpricing ourselves at
Yeah,
times.
100%.
And being you want to protect yourself from rejection or
Yeah,
criticism because when you put
yeah,
yourself out there now everybody can see,
yes,
but watching Jen and her life has inspired me. So I'm going to play a little bit bigger
yes,
and
Co.
don't get out of my head. Just get
Yep.
out of my head and just do it.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's the practice of it. I think there is a lot of just how how is it possible? How could I actually do it? I think in my history, there was just a decade of life that felt really heavy, and I have owned other businesses besides my practice, and they have not panned out. And so, really reaching and figuring out why, again, back
Mhm.
to that reflection and what can I do? And I feel that a lot of times what it was just trying to do it all yourself. And so leaning into the community, the people around, having more conversation, women together is so beautiful, and just
Mhm.
showing up for these conversations brings a different light into where I am personally. So it's just allowing things to come and not feel like I have to do it all. There's
Yes.
no way but my way. And I think, yeah, just letting it go, allowing other
Mhm.
people in.
Mhm. Being strategic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And believing you can. How often do we
Yes,
hold
but
ourselves back
that
because
is
we,
the first thing,
yes,
believing that you can.
it has to be the first thing.
Mhm.
We just talked about how the difference between CEO identity and operator identity is the ability to get out of your own way. The ability to
Mhm.
say, I don't have to be the one physically doing this. I'm capable of holding a vision and guiding us toward that vision. And believing that you're deserving. That's a big one for, I think, women especially. Like, oh, I don't know, it's fine. We give of ourselves constantly, and it's really scary to ask, even if that
Mm.
means like asking if you believe in, faith. So praying for it, or asking universe, or asking friends to support you, or anything. Just even like allowing yourself to hold on to the idea that you might deserve something bigger is I think, a huge step. And then also trusting that you're competent. How hard have each of you driven for somebody else? I will say, like, I have worked crazy hard for somebody else's vision time and time and time again. Put in wild hours, given my
Mm.
last penny. We do that for other
Mhm.
people. We're giving people, but trusting
Mhm.
that you can bring that same energy to your own practice or your own goals, that's totally different, right? And I think it's because there's a vulnerability in honoring the truth that, like, when you put your own little goal out there, your own business, it's your little baby. And like you said, it's vulnerable. People be like, why are you doing that? That's a bad idea.
Mhm.
Whatever. It can be
Mhm.
very, very scary. So you
Mhm.
have to conquer, I think, a few big hurdles first before you're willing to get out of the safety of staying small. Trust
Mhm.
that you're deserving, trust that you can do it, and trust that your idea has value. And don't rely on everybody else to decide that it has value. There's 8 billion people. Somebody's going to like it. That's fine. Um, so I think it's really like small feels safe. Small is something that we can control, but it costs you the business and the life that you want, and oftentimes the earning potential that you're so capable of. So,
Exactly. With 8 billion people, we just need about 500,000 people to like it. That's it.
sure. Honestly,
More
I'll
than
settle with you
that.
three. I'm happy in this moment right here.
Right.
So,
You know?
yeah.
But yes, I get exactly what you're saying because you making yourself feel by the way you think.
100%. You dictate your reality. Your
Mhm.
entire reality is right here, right? It's in your brain. So you're going to
Mhm.
be dictating whatever that is for you. And so I think as soon as you're willing to go a little bit bigger, you'll stretch. Your body will naturally stretch. I think that we're incredibly adaptable people. And when we stay small and we decide that we're just going to play in this little baby arena, we're going to
Mhm.
limit ourselves. But as soon as we allow ourselves to stretch a little bit, I bet each of you, even if you just stretched one more client or whatever else that looks like, would be surprised at how quickly you fill that arena and you're ready to stretch again. It's all about, I think, too, the benefit of incremental gains when you're starting any kind of new practice, because it allows you to build that positive trust. That trust in self is built over time when you realize, like, oh, I did smash that. Let me dream a little baby bit bigger. Ooh,
Mhm.
I did execute that incredibly well, and my clients are thriving. Let me stretch a little bit bigger. And so it doesn't have to be a Heather Taylor jump into the deep end and accept a firm in less than 8 hours. You don't have to do that. Go big. I love that you did that. That is inspiring to me. It can
With
also
no
be,
floaties.
yes, no
No,
floaties, just a coffee straw reaching out
just a
above the
coffee
water.
Yeah.
straw.
So it doesn't always have to be that. If that's not what your reality is, that's fine. Growth doesn't always have to be straight into the deep end. Sometimes growth is a little seedling and then another little leaf, and it can be more incremental. So it can look it can take on different appearances as you go. But
Mhm.
well, any let's talk about sort of that growth edge for our community. So now that we've each shared a little bit about some of those growth edges, what that looks like for us, I would challenge each of us and anybody listening to identify one area in business or even leadership or life. I mean, you can apply this to business and outside arenas as well. But where are you holding yourself back because of fear? So where are you holding yourself back because you're not confident enough to try? Those are those intrusive little thoughts of, oh, it's not the right time, or oh, I don't know, where you're just letting that little doubt demon come in before you've even given yourself a chance to massage the idea out fully and let it bloom. And then choose an action that really allows you to lean into growth instead of fear. So is it co-marketing? Were you putting yourself out there, trusting that honestly, even again, if it's maybe it's trusting your community, even if it's just us, I will be smashing that like button. I will be so proud of you. I will be your biggest hype girl. And people want your growth. We care about your growth. So is it leaning into your community to be brave enough to get out and raise your visibility? Are you going to start a conversation? Heather, you were brave. You reached out to a school district and you're like, I can do this better. And they accepted that.
Mhm.
Finger, you love to jump both feet into the deep end. You're just like,
Mhm.
good on you. I respect the heck out of that.
Something again.
Yeah, innovative.
Innovative, yeah.
Mhm.
Or
A
is it
whole
Jen?
school district. That's perfect. That's
It
good.
Mhm.
is. I've seen Jen decide to pivot from routine bookkeeping stuff she can do with her eyes closed to owning her value and saying, look, I'm already doing so much more for all of my clients. And so now I'm going to elevate and I'm going to price it and I'm going to share my knowledge and move into that
Mhm.
CFO role. I mean,
Mhm.
what does it look like? Are you going to be brave and share your idea? So that would be the challenge is really take a second to look at where are you shrinking yourself and where are you going to allow yourself to grow? Um, so I guess what are each of you committing to this week for your growth edge?
I think I personally, as you've come on board, Becca, to all accounting, I have relied a lot on you to kind of sell ourselves, sell me, and it's been great. But as I do more lives and I create more skill, I think one thing that I'd like to stretch my growth is, and stretch just who I am, is outside, like community type of face-to-face interactions instead of just online. Online is where we do meet our clients and all of that, but I think there is still a very good skill that I am needing to hone in on, with just conversation, that middle ground of not complete small talk, not complete like in-depth, like how are you feeling, but just that middle ground of conversation with people to connect better in person is kind of
Yeah.
where I need to do a lot of stretching.
Well, and I love that you just brought that in as a skill because it is a skill. So
Yeah.
often, the number of times I hear people say, I'm not a people person. Yeah, nobody runs a marathon at first, friend. You got
Right.
to start, you got to talk to a stranger first, and
Yeah.
it's scary. So I love that.
Mhm.
Mine's my pricing. I've danced around it for quite a few months, and then I get busy because I don't finish it, and really just like honing in my price because I'm just at that level of, well, I honestly haven't raised my prices for myself since I started my business in 2021. And so there's been increases for, for software or, the subscriptions that are paying, but never really myself. And all year long, it's like, I'm going to do my prices and then something disturbs me. I'm going to do my pricing and something disturbs me. And so really framing like what that is. And part of it too is like, where is my pricing and where do I need to be? And so I'm really just accepting that, you know, this is where my pricing should be, not where it is, not where I want it to be, but where it should be. And then just accepting that and getting it out there and
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
But
Don't
that is,
play small on pricing.
it's
Yes,
a
don't
scary
shortchange
one.
yourself.
But it matters, yes. Jen introduced me to one of my very favorite quotes, and I keep that in mind all the time. And it's the reminder that you can work yourself into minimum wage really, really quickly. And especially, Heather, as you're weaving in, like you said, subscriptions or just those one-off conversations, or, oh, it's just a couple more accounts, or, oh, it's just a quick question. When you really pull that all together and you truly assess what is really happening, and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm working for 7.44 an hour. Yikes.
Hmm.
It
so
helps
looking at
you
hours.
bring that to your client, and they understand that too. I mean, so many of our clients are navigating narrow margins because they are working really hard. But I think it's a universal reality that we all face, that they
Hmm.
understand that there's more to it. And if you're just really honest about prices are rising with subscription fees. This takes time. People get it. And if they don't, you've continued to grow and you don't have to take them with you. Like if
Hmm.
they're an anchor that's not going to continue to support your growth, you have given them an incredible service and it's okay to say thank you. Good luck. I'm on a new
Hmm.
journey.
Yeah.
But that takes a lot of chutzpah because it's scary.
It does. I think for me, for next week, the coming weeks is honing this marketing portion and getting everything, the infrastructure set up and just getting in front of people, talking to people.
Yeah, I love that. For me, it's trusting my voice. It is so easy to second guess, like, oh, what if I say the wrong thing? Or, oh, I shouldn't, whatever. No, like people, and in trusting my voice, what I'm doing is I'm trusting other people to trust their own brain, to take it or to leave it. Like they don't have to, my word is not the end all be all. And so I do not have to make a decision for somebody else about how they receive my voice. And that is a helpful mindset shift for me, that I can just put it out there. I can say it as long as it's fueled to my truth and filled with integrity and hopefully filling that person, it can be said. And so that's
Hmm.
my growth edge, is not silencing my voice. Um, and yeah, using it to hopefully speak grace and kindness and growth into people, but also truth. So
Mhm.
that's
Mhm.
definitely my growth edge.
We
Okay,
appreciate your voice.
well, huh?
We appreciate your voice.
Uh,
Yes, we do. We really do.
I appreciate you guys. Community
Mhm.
matters.
Mhm.
Well, I am rooting for anybody who's listening to this, and I encourage everybody to really take a second to assess their goals. There's a saying that I love in yoga, and it applies so well here, that it's a practice, not a performance. So make sure that when you're using your time to set these goals, they're not about performance. Don't make it performative. That's external thinking. Make it real to you. What is it that you're trying to do? What are you comfortable with and expanding? Where are you ready to like fumble and fall and learn and grow? And keep coming back to yourself and thinking about where do I want to be? Where does this feel good? And letting that be a compass to help fuel your growth. But stop restricting yourself by playing so small and letting those doubt demons win. Because again, confidence comes after the action, right? We all need that
Yes.
positive proof. We need those wins, and the only
Mm.
way that you're going to get those wins is by showing up. So, thank you for spending time with us this morning in the accountability room. If this conversation resonated with you, share it with somebody who needs permission to stop playing small, to grow a little bit, to take that first step. And come back and join us next week when we discuss breaking the need to prove yourself. Appreciate you, ladies.
Love
Hope you
it.
have a great rest of your day.
Bye,
Bye
guys.
bye.